Today, I want to talk about a skill that I think you need to cultivate if you want to grow in your career and build long-term success. In fact, I would even go as far as to say that I don't believe you will be successful in your career. You will not build that long-term success if you don't grow in this skill. And that's just how important this skill is. Let me paint you a picture. Let's assume that you have all the skills you need to do your job well. You have all the qualifications, you have all the knowledge, you have all the skills you need, you have the right relationships, you have the right opportunities. Will that be enough to make sure you're successful? I don't think so. In fact, I guarantee that it won't get you very far because you're lacking what, in my opinion, is the key to a successful career. But what am I talking about? I'm talking about the one skill that's silent, you can't see it, you barely know it's there, but it's the most important skill for building your career. And I'll tell you what it is. It's resilience. Now you're gonna say, what does resilience have to do with success? And fair point, the connection isn't that obvious, but we'll unpack in this video why I think resilience is the absolute key to building long-term success in your career. One of the issues is, we all think we're resilient. You probably didn't click on this video because you wanted to hear about resilience. You probably wanted to hear about, advancing your career. So if you're not watching resilience videos right now, it's probably because you're assuming, I am pretty resilient myself. I get it. I get it because I thought like that for a long time too. So I think thinking we're resilient actually makes us a little bit arrogant. It makes us overlook this skill that's really crucial for building success. And I'll tell you more about how as we talk more about this video. But first I want to say that resilience is actually one of the hardest things to cultivate because it looks different in different circumstances. It can look like confidently bouncing back from a setback. It's one way it can look. It can look like optimism when things are, not going quite as well. It can look like focus when things are stressful, when you have multiple things that you're juggling. It can look like focus. It can look like calmness. So it's kind of like the calmness in the eye of the hurricane, if you want. So it has a lot of different angles to it, but that all is resilience in a way. And a couple examples are, for example, if you get stressed out when you receive negative feedback at work, that probably means that you can build a little bit on your resilience. You can overcome some negative emotions. It's actually a hint maybe that you're not exploring an opportunity that could help you grow, that could make you more successful, because if you grow, you're gonna be more successful. And vice versa. If you want to grow, if you want success, you also need to grow. Another example is, if you're having issues with a colleague, you're not getting along, or you're not understanding each other, the person's talking about something different than you, and like anytime you try to communicate, you're just not understanding each other, and you're starting to get stressed out, you're getting annoyed with them. Maybe you're hurt because, maybe they said your idea wasn't any good. You think it was, of course, because why would you bring up a dumb idea? Nobody would do that kind of thing. So if that's the kind of situations you're in, then that probably means you can build some resilience around how you're dealing with your colleagues, around collaboration. There's probably some hurt and some anger built up, some annoyance in you that you can release. And if you want to learn more about how to release those emotions, then check out my emotion makeover meditation. I'm going to put a link in the description below for you to check that out. It really helps me in these kind of situations to build my resilience, which I know will make me more successful, because it then in the future makes me deal with that particular colleague a little bit more smartly. You won't get upset at them. You won't get annoyed at them. You'll start to actually collaborate with them better. So it's really important to build that resilience and to let go of those emotions so that you can, really grow your impact. So it's crazy that this skill is overlooked so much. So we've already talked about a couple of areas where resilience can really be beneficial. I think overall for me, I see 3 areas where I think resilience plays the biggest role in our career success. One of them is turning obstacles into changes or into opportunities, seeing something good behind bad feedback, for example, is one way that resilience can help you overcome a setback like that. Because obviously bad feedback, negative feedback at work, that's a little bit of a setback because you did something that didn't go quite as well as you'd hoped. And you have to move forward. So what do? You're gonna try to turn this obstacle, this feedback you just got, into an opportunity, and resilience will help you do that. Managing your emotions will help you do that. And if you want to learn more about how to deal with negative feedback, I've also made a video about that in the past that you can look up here for that. And at the same time, obviously, if you're working with your emotions and you're trying to foster a little more calmness and a little more focus, it'll increase your emotional well-being. That's the second area for me, is emotional well-being, which you can only grow, you can only improve yourself if you're in a positive space. It's pretty obvious. Like if you're really depressed, you're really angry or really upset about something, you're not going to want to change anything about who you are because you're already dealing with quite a lot in the moment already, right? So you have to be in a good emotional place in order to grow. And resilience can help you do that. And as we said before, if you want success, you need to grow. So those are all connected, and it's not easy to see sometimes that resilience is behind all that. But I really think it's important to point that out, and that's why I'm actually making these videos for you, because I think this is something that I've recognized for myself, and I want to pass that on. I kind of want to coach other people that dealing with your emotions and having a healthier relationship with your emotions, even with the bad ones, which oftentimes, I only focus on the bad emotions that I have within me and I release those. I do that a lot more frequently than I work on my positive emotions. And I think that alone already helps to increase my well-being, and it helps me to grow. It helps me to leave aside these obstacles that I was talking about, area 1, and actually focus on the opportunity and develop a success mindset, or put myself into the emotional well-being space that will allow for a success mindset. So those are 2 areas that, I think resilience can really help us move our career forward with. And the third one was the one that I mentioned in one of the examples already, which is handling relationships with colleagues, for example, that intersects with leadership. If maybe you're leading a team, maybe you need to have good relationships with your colleagues, because otherwise, they'll not want to work on your team, so to speak. The golden rule for working with your team is to have everybody want to be on your team and win. You just don't want anybody to be on your team and not do the work, or be only sort of there mentally, but not really invested in the projects. That's going to give you some outcome, but it's probably not going to get you that stellar result that you're looking for. And after all, that's probably why you're listening to this channel, because you're looking for better results. You're trying to build yourself a path to these ambitious goals. So handling conflicts, building more strategic relationships is the third area where I think resilience can be massively helpful in building success for you. So let's unpack each of these areas a little bit more. Area 1 was turning obstacles into opportunities. A couple of examples come to mind here. So I already mentioned one, which was bad feedback. That's one where it looks on the surface like an obstacle, but it really is an opportunity. Because every time you're getting feedback, that's one area that you can improve your effectiveness in. You just have to see for yourself, what is the grain of truth in this feedback? What can I personally learn from this and use to move myself forward? And sometimes you'll have to interpret the feedback a little bit to get there, but that is one way in which you can really concretely move yourself forward, make yourself more successful. Because that's a skill not everybody has. Not everybody can take back feedback and turn it into something good, can turn it into growth. You'll stand out if you do that. What are other obstacles that resilience can help you with? Lack of progress on a goal or lack of progress on a project, for example. That's a setback, it's an obstacle, it doesn't look good at work. You want to obviously always make progress on your project. Sometimes it doesn't happen. How do you deal with that? Do you get upset? Do you feel anxious? Do you feel stressed? Probably a combination of all of those, right? So you'll have to, first of all, work with those emotions. And again, you'll have to see, what can I learn from this experience that can make me more effective in the future? Because you probably want to avoid having that happen to you again. So maybe you want to think about how you're leading your projects, how you're tracking progress on them. Are your colleagues reporting to you, if you're the team lead, what they're contributing to the project? Do you have regular check-ins? That sort of thing. There's something to learn here, not just the fact that, oh no, something didn't happen quite the right way, but there's also something that you can draw out of the situation for yourself in order to grow. What can help you what can increase your effectiveness here on this topic? What else? Another example, blown budget. Your project went over budget. It's more expensive than you thought it was going to be. That's bad. You'll have to first probably accept bad feedback. You'll then have to work through that and your emotions that go along with that. And then you'll have to solve the problem, obviously, as well. But what does that mean for you? Is there something here where you could be more effective? How can you plan your resources better? Because that's what budget is about, planning your resources. Something tells me that if you go in over budget, then you didn't plan your resources well. So there's something here where you can be more effective. Another one that happens a lot is maybe you're feeling like you're constantly putting out fires at work. You're just running from one thing to the next. That's stressful. It's a lot to deal with, and that's a lot to work through, again, emotionally. And, usually those sorts of experiences, they carry over into your personal life as well, because then you come home and then maybe something at home is broken or so, and then you have to deal with that as well. So you're only dealing with issues all the time. But what does that tell you? Is that really just an obstacle? Is there some opportunity for growth here? Probably. Probably first of all means, well, maybe you can just be calmer in general about some of the things that are happening in your life. Maybe not all of these fires are equally important. Maybe it's okay if you just put out a few and leave the other ones for the next day to be solved. Not all problems need to be solved at the same day. So that's one way to think about it. Look at your obstacles and think about if there's an opportunity for you for increasing your effectiveness, for building your career, building new skills. Usually if something feels like a really big headache to you right now, that's often a sign that that's a huge opportunity waiting for you to make your life easier. If you just look for it. If you build a skill to solve that. It's a huge opportunity. So if I had to summarize this area of turning obstacles into opportunities in one sentence, I'd probably just say, don't be problem-focused, be solutions-oriented. So don't focus too much around that bad feedback you got, the blown budget. Don't focus too much around the fact that your project didn't deliver the results in the right time. You didn't make enough progress. Instead, focus on what you can learn from that for the future, how you can move yourself and your team forward, quite honestly, because you're probably not working in isolation. Usually, people work with other people together. What can you do to move yourself and your team to the right solution? It doesn't have to be right now. Sometimes there's not much you can do about a current problem, but it's more for the future. What can you do in the future to be more effective? So let's get back to the second area, which is emotional well-being. And this is a pretty obvious one, I guess. We've talked about, some of these bad feelings already. Maybe you have stress at work because of all these fires you're putting out, which if that's just maintained over too much time, then that leads to bad health. And then that leads to burnout. Usually it's a downward spiral on that front. And if you're building resilience, it's that can help you tackle those issues a little bit more smartly. And I said this already, if there are too many negative emotions, then you're holding yourself back from developing because you're already dealing with so many other things. So use a meditation tool. You can use my emotion makeover meditation if you want. I absolutely love it. And it really can help you develop on that front. Develop the resilience you need in order to be successful. And as you advance your career, if that's truly what you're here to do and what I can help you develop, if you really want to advance your career, you'll likely at some point carry more responsibilities. You'll be exposed to more stressful situations. That means that you'll really need more resilience. So you should start building it early. It doesn't hurt. It can carry over even into your personal life. This can improve relationships with your family, for example. You can use the same techniques at home that you would at work. You can even practice in both scenarios, which can help you be more mindful of your emotions, and it can help you be just more in control, more effective. You'll move yourself forward. You're going to be calmer because you can already tell, oh, I'm starting to get angry. I'm starting to get upset. And then you can stop it in its tracks the more you build a habit of working with your emotions. So try to do that. Build a daily meditation habit. You can do the emotion makeover meditation daily if you want. You can do some sort of other meditation if you want. I personally really like Deepak Chopra's abundance meditation. I do that very frequently in addition to my emotion makeover meditation. You can do it in multiple times a day. I do one meditation in the morning, usually one at night. Build that habit. It doesn't hurt. It can only help you move forward. It can help you build a more successful career. And then a bonus is actually having built more resilience, that'll actually make you more likely to seek feedback from others because you'll be able to tackle it. Bad feedback, it always sounds very scary. Nobody wants to get it, of course, because we all just want to be told we did a great job. But if you're resilient, you'll actually go out there and ask for more feedback. And guess what that does? It shows you what areas you can develop more. So it actually reinforces the positive cycle. It helps you advance your career even more. That's why you need to build resilience today. You need to start building it now so that you can then be more confident about the feedback that you're getting, so that you can then move forward. It all reinforces each other. But I think the actual basis of this is truly resilience. Resilience will span across all other topics around collaboration and project management we've touched upon. Resilience kind of governs it all, if you want. You can't do any of those things well if you don't have resilience. You could be the best project manager if you get upset about lack of progress in your project. Are you successful? You call that successful? I don't think so. I think the people who are calm when they see setbacks, those are the successful people. Those are the people that we look up to. We don't look up to the people that freak out when their projects don't work out. So build resilience. I can't stress it enough. Third area that I want to unpack is relationships and around leadership. As you advance your career, you're going to have to build more strategic relationships. You're going to move up into more impactful positions. And it just won't be productive at that point to be having that sort of emotional conflict with colleagues. If you don't have those, then great. But I'm sure there's occasionally the colleague that you get into an argument with, or you don't quite know who's right about an option. How do you move forward from that? Is that effective? Is it effective for you both to be arguing about how to move forward? Probably not. So either you'll have to find a common ground here. And having those sorts of conflicts is just not going to be effective. Building resilience and learning to control your emotions and then making sure you choose the right path can really help you become unstuck in those situations and to move yourself forward. What happens when you're having that sort of conflict with a coworker is that you don't really communicate well with them. Maybe in the future you won't even talk to them about a project you're working on. And what does that mean for you? It means that they might have some information that is not being shared with you because you're not talking to them. And they're not talking to you either, maybe. So it's important to resolve these kinds of conflicts for your own effectiveness. You'll want to know all of the information, obviously, if your project is supposed to be successful. What's the one thing that'll make any great project fail? It's lack of information. It's, for example, if I'm putting out a product today and someone else is working on something similar but better, and I don't know about it, then they're going to win. They're going to be more successful. So it won't matter how good I was with my product. You'll want to know as much information as possible from your colleagues when you're working on a project. Maybe they're working on something that'll completely remove the need for your project. Maybe they're already solving the issue that you were trying to solve. And maybe they're solving a couple others in addition. So who do you think is going to be more successful? It's going to be them. Because they're delivering on multiple fronts and you didn't even know about it. So that's why we need to resolve these kinds of conflicts with our colleagues. We need to make sure we are always talking to everybody. That's the only way we can be effective. And conflicts get in the way of sharing this kind of information. So the next point is going to be obvious. As your career grows, you're going to be talking to a lot more people. Those conversations are going to be a lot more higher stakes. So the relationships that you're developing are going to have to be a lot more strategic. You're going to have to really think about which relationships you want to develop and how you're going to develop them. And you're going to have to move past some of these issues. Ask yourself, will you be successful if you blow it in any of these highly important conversations? I don't think so. I can guarantee you'll need resilience if you want to build a successful career and navigate the situations that come with having more impact in your career. As you move up the ladder, the situations that you're going to be involved in are going to be more important, more higher stakes. You'll just have to deal with those. And then as you become a leader, maybe you already are. You can be a leader even at the lowest level of your organization. Because maybe your colleagues are just looking up to you because you have a skill that they'd like to learn. So as a leader, we're always leaders. You'll need to inspire and motivate others. I don't think you can do that if you're not resilient. I don't think it's inspiring to see someone freak out over the blown budget or the lack of progress on a project. You're going to be motivating others if you stay calm, because then others are going to be looking at you and going to say, wow, she messed up that project. She messed up that project and she's staying calm. How's she doing that? She built resilience. So that's why you need to build resilience today. And then finally, as a leader, you'll have to make tough decisions. As you're moving up into more important positions, you're going to have to make tougher decisions. How do you make tough decisions? You'll have to manage your emotions. You'll have to build that resilience. You'll have to even accept setbacks as things don't work out. And you'll have to find a way forward. You can only find that way if you're in a positive emotional space. So to sum up, we've talked about 3 areas where resilience can help you advance your career and build more success. Turning obstacles into opportunities, emotional well-being, and managing tough relationships or leadership positions. Those are the 3 areas. And resilience is a good skill when you don't know what other skills to develop. Usually the hardest thing to think about for your own growth is, what should I work on to be more effective? How can I better myself? You can if you build resilience, because we talked about it in this video, is that resilience is the base of a lot of other topics even. Project management, collaboration, communication. The basis for all of this is resilience. If you don't have resilience, it doesn't matter how good of a project manager you are, because you're not going to be able to move past these obstacles. So build resilience today. Start a meditation habit. Maybe you'll start my emotion makeover meditation and start building that success that you want. You can do it today. It doesn't take long. It takes 5 minutes. 5 minutes in the morning, 5 minutes at night. That's all. There's no way to do it the wrong way. Because it's meditation. There is no wrong way. Build that calmness. Take deep breaths. There's no wrong way to take a breath. You can take a breath. You can build a habit of taking deep breaths for 5 minutes a day. Close your eyes and just focus on taking breaths. That's meditation. That can help you build resilience, and it can help you build your career. So that's it for today. Let me know in the comments below if you started your meditation habit, or if you use my emotion makeover meditation. Let me know how it goes for you. Did you think resilience was going to be what we talked about today? Tell me in the comments below. That's it.